Arsenal nil, Liverpool nil. 6 points is still the gap between Arsenal and Manchester City. A chance for Arsenal to extend it to 8, but a chance not taken. Liverpool did actually defend pretty well though, I thought. It is quite mad though how different this Liverpool team is from just a year ago. Obviously a title winning team a year ago. Now they're going to the Emirates to get a draw. They had no intent and purpose to win that game today. That was clear by the lineup choice. They had no striker on the pitch. Obviously, Salah not available, Isak not available, Ekitike not available. But you've still got to play. You could have set up differently. You could have played Gakpo through the middle. You could have played Chiesa on the left. That would have given you some sort of target up front. It was quite clear that Liverpool had no intent to win this game, because Wirtz was supposedly playing through the middle, but he was never there. He was never in the middle of the pitch. He dropped deep so often. And it's quite frustrating watching him do that, because when he does get the ball in the box, he looks really tricky and he looks really good, really dangerous with his quick feet. He just didn't do that enough because he wasn't anywhere near the box. The only time that Liverpool looked like they could have scored was from Szoboszlai having a shot or a free kick from outside the box. At no point did they create enough to score a goal from open play or from in the box. I think one player who does look really good on Liverpool though is Jeremie Frimpong. I think he looks almost Doku-esque when he's got the ball on the wing. He is so fast. He makes great runs in behind. He's clearly not a right back. I mean, he came in as a right wing back, not a right back. So I guess we kind of knew that. But he's definitely a better winger than he is right back, because when he gets the ball, he can just jink past someone the same way that Doku does. He can get his foot on the ball and just move quicker than the fullback. Even though if you're not technically gifted enough, like he's not technically a great footballer, which is why you see the end product sometimes lacks. To be honest, not even sometimes, a lot of the time his end product lacks, and we saw that today. Similar to Doku, if you do it enough, you're going to make something happen. He makes great runs in behind, which was needed today because there was no striker. Wirtz isn't going to make a run in behind. Gakpo, yes, sometimes, but he does typically stay wide when he's playing on the left. I don't really get why they persisted with Gakpo on the left and Wirtz through the middle. You could have just swapped those. Gakpo didn't really offer a lot on the left. Usually when you see Gakpo on the left, it's that he's going to get the ball to feet and either try and beat a man on the outside, put a ball in, but there was no one to put a ball into. There was no forward, there was no Isak, there was no Ekitike. So that threat was nullified by Liverpool themselves because they didn't even have a forward to target if he got down the byline. Or it was that he can get the ball, cut in, and take a long range shot. We've seen that he's really, really good at that. But Liverpool were never going to get the ball in those positions. He picked up the ball too deep because Liverpool weren't high up enough on the pitch, because they didn't have a target, because they didn't have a striker that they could put the ball up to and that he could hold on to bring other players like Gakpo, like Frimpong into play. It was impossible for anybody to get the ball in a good enough position high up. I mean, Szoboszlai was trying to make that happen. Wirtz, I guess, was trying to make it happen by coming deep to get the ball. But that's just not where you want Florian Wirtz. You need him playing off of a striker. He can't be this false nine, or he can't be up there on his own. It really doesn't work. But when you've got an Isak or an Ekitike back, I think we'll see Frimpong really work at right wing. Although it may not actually be able to happen anymore, because Conor Bradley looked like he went off with a seriously bad injury. Felt quite bad for him when it looked like it happened, because he knew straight away that it was a bad one. You could see it on his face that he knew it was a bad injury. What Martinelli did was absolutely inexcusable there. To firstly throw the ball in, which I don't really get why he did that in the first place. That was going to achieve nothing. But then to try and push him off the pitch when you can see he's seriously injured is absolutely terrible. I guess a lot of players in that position will try and waste time. So you can understand that some players will go down, will stay down and stay on the pitch to try and get the referee to stop the game rather than the game continuing with him off the pitch. But it was quite clear that that wasn't what Conor Bradley was doing. So Martinelli trying to push him off the pitch If I was a Liverpool player, I'd have gone way more mental out of that than they actually did. But there were some good performances from Liverpool, to be honest. I thought the whole back line played pretty well. I thought Van Dijk and Konate were much better than they have been previously this season. I thought Kerkez, the first 15-20 minutes, he looked horrific. He seems to look so panicked at the start of games. Like he is trying to go all in. He's trying to go head first into everything. He looks like he's almost way too up for it. It looks like he's playing a derby every single game when it doesn't need to be. He just needs to calm down a little bit. And in the second half, you could see he was actually brilliant. Saka had nothing in the second half. In the first half, in the first 20, he goes flying in too tight, not patient enough, which is never going to work against Saka because he'll just skip past you. He even made a couple of 5-yard passes that looked really difficult. He looked so on edge. But then in the second half, he was absolutely brilliant. Saka had absolutely nothing. Kerkez was fantastic. He's so hit and miss though. If you're getting that second half Kerkez, then brilliant. But if you're getting the first half Kerkez, you're in trouble. And that's what we have seen most of this season, especially right at the beginning. It really wasn't great. But yeah, the way Liverpool set up that game, they were never going to win this game. They went for a draw, and admittedly, they carried out that game plan pretty well because they got the draw. Arsenal didn't look too dangerous. I mean, Arsenal did have a few chances, but not any major ones really. The problem was that Liverpool just were never going to score a goal. And it is crazy to think that the Premier League champions, how much has changed in a year, that they are now going to the Emirates Stadium with the mentality of playing no striker and not winning the game, not scoring a goal. It's crazy considering how free-flowing Liverpool were last season to now go to the Emirates with the idea of drawing that game. I guess with no Salah, no Isak, no Ekitike, it is difficult, but there were options. You could have played Chiesa on the left. I know Slot hates Chiesa for some weird reason, but you could have played Chiesa on the left, Gakpo through the middle, where yes, Gakpo isn't as good through the middle as he is off the left, but needs must in this game. He would have been a target. He would have been someone you could play a ball up to, and maybe it would stick. Maybe he could bring Chiesa and Frimpong into play, or the likes of McAllister, Szoboszlai. It might have worked. It certainly probably would have worked better than what they actually did. But from an Arsenal point of view, I mean, yeah, they never really looked like conceding. I don't know if that was more Liverpool's approach to the game, like I just mentioned, or actually Arsenal defending really, really well, as they normally do, to be honest. They didn't come out unscathed either. Hincapié went off with an injury. Didn't look great either, to be honest. And he'd been performing well. So that's Calafiori out. I don't know if he's out long term. It doesn't seem like he is. Hincapié potentially out. Maybe Miles Lewis-Skelly does get minutes now, which isn't necessarily bad for Arsenal. It's great that they've got this amount of depth. Any other team with two players like that out, you would see them struggle, like Man City, for example. Diaz, Gvardiol out. That looks terrible for Man City. That looks like a really tough situation that they need to now go into the transfer market and get someone like a Mark Gahey to play alongside an Aki or a Kusanov, because they haven't got the depth that a team like Arsenal have. Arsenal have such good depth that one injury or two injuries isn't going to impact them. In every single position, there is someone good enough that can fill in, which you don't see many squads like that. Man City had it a few years ago, but you don't see many other squads like that. I think the one position that has proved to be not good enough still, even though Trossard, I think, has been really, really good this season. Today wasn't at his best, but he's been really, really good this season. I still think if Arsenal were going to dip into the January transfer market at all, then I think it's a left winger. If they can go out and grab a Rodrigo or a Rafa Leao, probably not possible, just because getting a player like that in January is very, very difficult. But that is the one position that I think they can improve on, because Martinelli has just proved that he's not good enough. His performances recently have actually been a little bit better as well. They're not as bad as he's previously been, but he's still not good enough for this level, I don't think. And Trossard, even though, like I mentioned, he's been good this season, I still think that he is a weak link, and that showed today as well. There wasn't enough threat. Talking about weak links though, Viktor Gyokeres with another disaster class. He barely touched the ball in the 60-odd minutes that he was on the pitch. I thought that this was actually one of his worst games, which is something to be said really because of how bad he's been. But he offered absolutely nothing. And every time Gabriel Jesus comes onto the pitch or starts a game or does anything, you can see how much better he is. So it's not a system thing. It's not a Arsenal aren't set up to help Gyokeres, because Gabriel Jesus comes onto the pitch and the team and him looks so much better. He looks so much more dangerous. He even just touches the ball more. It's as simple as that. One simple thing that he touches the ball more, that even makes him look better than Gyokeres. Gyokeres just offers nothing. And it's quite sad to see, to be honest, because going from Sporting, where he was scoring all of these goals, the tactical fit is obviously so different to Arsenal, where he hasn't got his space to run into. It's not the type of setup that he's used to at Sporting, but it's really not working at Arsenal. You can see he's a good finisher. He's just not getting into the positions. He's not doing enough. You could see there was crosses that come in. Saka put a ball in, and Gyokeres is just nowhere to be seen. The ball goes across the face of the 6-yard box, and Gyokeres is nowhere. That is exactly where he should be. That is exactly who should be on the end of that ball, and he's nowhere. It's not working. Gabriel Jesus needs to be starting games because he looks so much better when he's on the pitch for Arsenal. But it is still 6 points for Arsenal, 6 points clear at the top. With Man City's defensive problems, that does look like a big gap at the moment, especially we only are halfway through the season, of course, but that does look like a pretty big gap right now. I still think that the title is in Arsenal's hands. I still think it's Arsenal's to lose, and with the depth that they've got in their squad, I don't see where they lose this unless they are in too many other competitions and they've got too much else going on. But I think they've got the squad to cope with it all, to be honest. I think they really do. I think that their starting 11 is absolutely fantastic, and even a second 11 for Arsenal would be really good right now. It's scary to see, but I can't see them dropping this from now, to be honest. But that is all for this one. If you like the videos, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.